Hello there, UK comic reviewer here, and here we're looking at a Beano book from 1983. You've got all the usual characters in there, Biff the Bear, Dennis and Menace, Little Plum, and Old Snooty Ball Boy, and so on, all having a photo done. And the rest of Dennis looks pleased, the rest of the gang look a bit worried. Anyway, let's carry on. And we've got drawings there of Minnie the Minx and Gnasher. You've got Smithy, not the Beezer character, but the Bash Street Kids character, trying to do what looks like a Rubik's Cube, and the other kids don't look a bit concerned. You've got Lord Snooty there, taking his hat off, Minnie the Minx on the telly, her dad deciding that she would learn a lot from the news, so she inadvertently decides to go out and correct her own news. And causes a load of mischief while she's at it. And obviously gets a lot of other people into trouble, which in turn gets her into trouble because they blame her for what happened. And in the end, she jumps into an ice cream, into a load of ice cream, and turns into the abominable snowman or snow girl. Billy Whiz there, wanting to enter a marathon in disguise, but the marathon organisers don't want him running in it, so they banned him. And so his disguised character goes in the marathon and then ends up sort of getting stuck up a tree or waiting up a tree, and a cat runs off with his wig, which basically exposes his disguise. And in the end, his dad ponders the guy looking very familiar who finished last, although I've never known a marathon to feature the last character that finished last, but anyway, never mind. And Dennis the Menace and Walter the Softy doing dog training, and how obedient and whether their dogs are, and whether they can perform tasks and instructions. And Gnasher seems to be outperforming Walter the Softy's dog. Funnily enough, Walter the Softy in later comics had a cat and not the dog, which was unusual. I think they thought a dog chasing cat might be more appropriate. Anyway, that's an advert for a Dennis the Menace annual. Then we've got Roger the Dodger being hungry, wanting some food, and then finding an ingenious way to clear the snow off the path. A very extremely hot curry, and then ice cream later, and then his stomach basically decides. It's decided that he likes curry, but his stomach doesn't. In the end, and Little Plum there, doing cooking by the looks of it. War dance stew. Obviously, the rest of the tribe don't really like his cooking, so he's not going to get high marks for that. Minnie the motorist is just sort of driving down a slide. Ball boy. I'm trying to kick the ball right round his house, and seems very impressed, even though I think it was his neighbour that kicked him, or something like that. Well, no, it was his dad actually. It wasn't the neighbour, it was his dad. Then the three bears have a visitor from the North Pole by the looks of it, a polar bear. And they try and keep him cold before he decides to head off to the back to his home. And we've got a restaurant gags going on here for all the characters. Grandpa, this was another character who was a young at heart guy who behaved a lot who was an older gentleman who behaved like a young lad. I don't think he was there long actually in the Beano comic. But anyway, he ended up with a luminous tree at the end. Christmas tree rather. We found a bear performing magic tricks and using a huge magnet on a crane to lift his car. Minnie the Matador, poor dad's about to get blatted up his backside by a goat. And you got Smudge here, this character, a dirty character, in sort of like similar, Beano's similar version to Smithy out of the Beezer. A bit of a scruffy lad who is in a sheep's costume and ends up in the black sheep's costume, which because he falls into a load of soot. You got Pup Parade here. The Bash Street Kids pups, all modelled on their owners, and going into halls of mirrors and football matches and bakeries and all sorts. Minnie the Mountaineer climbing on Dad. Babyface Henderson, the young tot who likes to steal everything and rob everything. Basically thinking he's from the Wild West. So the policeman decides to take him to a Wild West convention or a quick draw competition. Picture show. All characters doing portraits and other pictures. Tom, Dick and Sally, the two brothers who used to torment their sister Sally, and usually would end up getting in trouble. But they're wearing American football outfits. Poor Sally ends up in a pond, but gets her revenge by using a matador. Sorry about that. Nature called. And two brothers ending up in trouble with the parents for running into the dad's vegetable patch and into the mum's, dirtying up the mum's washing. You got the Bash Street Kids on their way to school. With 16 pages all about them, so it starts off with a slideshow, which the kids are really not interested in, and the teacher basically insists that they will watch his slideshows. Unfortunately, the kids have other ideas, and you end up skating on some fish at the end. You got school sports days there, taking part against other schools by the looks of it. And you got the cleaner mopping the floor, or trying to clean up the floor. The kids end up helping and creating an even bigger mess at the end, with the ceiling falling down. And then the kids going home. Then you got Gnasher's Tale, eating, having a dog sharing with another dog by the looks of it, and Gnasher getting into trouble, chasing after a cat, or frightening a cat by the looks of it. Or well, actually, it wasn't Gnasher, it was the other dog chasing after the cat. Got Lord Snooty there, wanting a film of his tower, and in the end having a football match, an impromptu football match with Knights holding up as part of the goal. Minnie the model, which he doesn't really like, the nibblers, all these rodents named after Jesus by the looks of it. Go skiing, and you've got some Christmas cards from Beano characters there. Billy Whiz racing for a hay bale at his uncle's farm by the looks of it, upsetting the sheep and then sending the sheep to sleep by jumping over a fence. So the sheep were counting, so it wasn't humans counting sheep to go to sleep, it was sheep counting a human to go to sleep. Grandpa again, that old man who doesn't behave his age, but ends up getting a £5 for practicing walking a dog by the looks of it. And you got Dennis and Pieface is one of his friends, Pieface, who loves pies. And he goes to the dentist, gets a bit mixed up over fillings, and he goes to a pie eating contest and ends up eating the trophy as well. And doesn't see much of the football match and just eats a load of pies. And goes to bed in a pie-shaped bed with pie-shaped furniture and dreams of raining pies. And you got spots of mistakes there. All the Beano characters with several mistakes. Obviously, I'm not going to go through them because it will take forever. Because there's about 10 errors there. Although one is that Biffo the Bear has only got one ear for some reason. And Babyface Finlayson is missing his bib, and there are 2 Smithies. If you look carefully. Anyway, I'm not going to go through the rest. Anyway, the Bash Street Kids pups again. And one from Smithy getting into trouble. Minnie the Miser. Don't know. Roger the Dodger. Trying to, be disguised, taking flowers into a show. So no one hopefully will see him. Unfortunately, he ends up with a photo done, which embarrasses him even more. And Lord Snooty relaxing watching his fish. With some doll's house equipment in there, and furniture. And you've got me the Maestro trying to teach the Bash Street pups to sing. Ball Boy. And they've asked him to go on his bike instead of on the bus, so they can pump the ball up with his bike pump. 3 bears there digging, to the other side of the world. And a squirrel who likes bones, obviously. And little Plum being chased by his rivals, his arch rivals. I think they were Putty Feet, I think they were called. His tribal called Smelly Feet, I think. You got Pepper the Pony and Lucinda. That pony with the nice afro hairstyle with his or her rider. And then goes on to a hurdling contest and ends up poor Lucinda getting a load of sugar lumps walloping into her from a bowl. Me and the Minx playing football, or rather being a fan, or the boys don't want to play football with girls, so she decides to start a bit of a fight with them and get them angry, and starts a huge fight with them, and ends up putting the ball in the pond and ends up swinging on the goal. A huge scarf. Got Gnasher's tail there. Gnasher flooding Dennis's dad's garden, and getting all the sausages, and Dad not being too chuffed about it. And we're nearly at the end of the comic here. Dennis advertising for the Beano comic there, and you've got the Gnasher and Dennis the Menace there in the drawings, and that's the end of the comic with Gnasher joining Dennis, which is what the other characters were worried about. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That was the Beano book from 1983. Take care and stay safe, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.